Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. Donald Trump's reaction just in tonight after being fined nearly $355 million. The major ruling late today hitting at the heart of Donald Trump's decades-long image. Judge Arthur Engoron ordering the former president to pay nearly $355 million in damages for exaggerating the values of his best-known properties, including Trump Tower and Mar-a-Lago. Trump's sons, Don Jr. and Eric, also fined. The AG argued, why did the Trumps get to inflate the values of their properties to get loans and insurance when everyday Americans cannot? Trump lashing out just moments ago. Aaron Katersky is here. Also, the breaking news out of Russia tonight, the sudden death of the well-known Putin critic Alexei Navalny. Tonight, President Biden making it clear he believes Putin is behind the death of Navalny. And tonight here, you will see the last known video of him seemingly okay just hours before his death and joking. Arthur Raddatz with late reporting. Amid the troubling news from Russia, Alexei Navalny dead, President Biden fuming, asking Republicans in the House why they are taking a 2-week vacation instead of helping Ukraine fight back against Putin as they continue to block any funding to help Ukraine. Rachel Scott, live in Washington. The high drama in court tonight, Fani Willis' father testifying on his daughter's behalf, with the prosecutor defending herself against allegations of a conflict in the Georgia case against Donald Trump. What her father told the court. And Steve Osunsami from Georgia. In the Northeast, the fast-moving winter storm hitting tonight and tomorrow. What New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. could see, Rob is here. Our Will Reeve tonight with Prince Harry on his visit with his father, King Charles, the King's health, and Harry's hope for the future of the royal family. Also tonight, Sir Paul McCartney, and tonight the stunning find more than 50 years later, what's been returned. And she needed 8 points to set the record, and she did it in just minutes. Who is our person of the week?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight with Donald Trump and the staggering fine. A judge in New York fining Trump $355 million in his civil fraud case for exaggerating the value of his properties, defrauding lenders by inflating the values of his properties for years to get better and bigger loans and insurance deals. The state attorney general had argued if everyday Americans can't exaggerate the values of their properties, why should the Trumps? One property, the Trump Tower penthouse, Trump documents claimed it was 30,000 square feet. Property records show it's actually 10,900 square feet. Mar-a-Lago, Trump said it was worth up to $600 million. Appraisers in Florida put it at $27 million, just a fraction of Trump's claim. Trump's oldest sons, Don Jr. and Eric, fined $4 million each, both banned from doing business in New York for 2 years. Their father banned from business for 3 years here. Tonight, Donald Trump's reaction just in. Our senior investigative reporter, Aaron Katersky, leading us off right here in New York tonight.
Tonight's ruling strikes at the heart of Donald Trump's image, carefully crafted for decades. The former president fined a staggering $355 million and banned from doing business for 3 years in New York, the city where he built his fortune and made his name. The judge determining Trump flagrantly overvalued his signature properties in order to get favorable bank loans and insurance rates, things everyday Americans would never get away with.
Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal. Today, the court, once again, ruled in our favor and in favor of every hard-working American who plays by the rules.
The most high-profile examples of fraud, the Trump Tower penthouse. The Trump organization inflated its value by some $200 million, declaring it was 30,000 square feet. But Trump signed a document certifying it's a third that size, 11,000 square feet. And while Trump claimed his Mar-a-Lago resort was worth up to $600 million, its true assessed value was no more than $27 million. Today, Judge Arthur Engoron writing Trump's complete lack of contrition and remorse borders on pathological, calling Trump incapable of admitting the error of his ways. The former president attended 10 days of the trial.
This trial is ridiculous.
And on the witness stand, he attacked Judge Engoron to his face, complaining, "This is a very unfair trial. I hope the public is watching." In his ruling today, the judge knocked Trump's testimony for long, irrelevant speeches, adding his refusal to answer the questions directly or in some cases at all severely compromised his credibility. The judge today also punishing Trump's two eldest sons, Eric and Don Jr., who Trump entrusted with the company when he was president. Both brothers had testified all they did was sign documents their accountants prepared, insisting they didn't check what was actually in them.
Whoever was bringing me a document, if it was more accounting, it was probably from accounting. If it was more legal, it would be from legal. And hey, are we okay signing this document? Do you believe it to be honest and accurate? And if they were okay with it, they'd have much more knowledge than I'd ever be able to amass, and so I would sign it.
Eric Trump testifying, "I don't think I'd be so nitty-gritty that I focused on details like this. This is just not what an executive at my level focuses on." But Judge Engoron didn't buy it, fining Trump's sons $4 million each and banning them from doing business in New York for 2 years, declaring that without a significant penalty, Trump and his sons would be likely to continue their fraudulent ways. Moments ago, Trump lashing out.
It's a very sad day for, in my opinion, the country. A crooked New York State judge just ruled that I have to pay a fine of $355 million for having built a perfect company. Great cash, great buildings, great everything.
The former president just a short time ago. Aaron with us live tonight. Aaron, the former president says he will appeal this ruling. That is not a surprise. But what happens in the meantime with this $350 million?
He still has to come up with the money, David. It's still going to be painful for him. Either put all of it in escrow with the court or post a portion of it as a bond with hefty interest. And, David, that's on top of $83 million Trump was ordered to pay E. Jean Carroll for defaming her. And he's facing those 4 criminal trials, the first of which begins right here in New York a little more than a month from now. David?
Eric Katersky leading us off on a Friday night. Aaron, thank you. Now to the shocking news out of Russia today. Tonight, Russian prison officials saying Vladimir Putin's best-known critic, Alexei Navalny, is dead. Navalny imprisoned at a remote facility in the Arctic. It was just 24 hours ago. Navalny right here appearing at a court hearing by video link. He appeared thin but in good spirits, even joking. So what happened? And tonight, President Biden making it clear he believes Putin was behind it. Martha Raddatz here with late reporting tonight.
Tonight, the stunning reports of Alexei Navalny's death prompting mourners across Russia to brave arrest. But few were surprised by his death after his years-long opposition towards Vladimir Putin. Just yesterday, Navalny was seen via video link from one of the harshest penal colonies in Russia's Arctic Circle. The 47-year-old appeared gaunt, but seemingly healthy, and was even joking during a court hearing with the judge. Just hours later, Russian officials say Navalny fell ill after a walk in the prison and lost consciousness. They claim doctors spent 30 minutes trying to revive him before he was pronounced dead, saying the cause of his death was now, quote, being established. At the White House today, President Biden left no doubt who was to blame.
Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Putin is responsible for Navalny's death. Putin is responsible.
Navalny's wife, Yulia, was in Munich, Germany today, attending a security conference and urged world leaders to hold Putin personally responsible. She received a standing ovation. Navalny has been the target of numerous attacks and attempts on his life over the years, most notoriously in 2020 when he fell ill aboard a flight from Siberia, moaning in agony, poisoned by the deadly nerve agent Novichok. Navalny miraculously recovered after treatment in Germany, but decided to return to Russia, knowing full well the risk he faced as Putin's fiercest critic. After the news of Navalny's death, Putin appeared in public today, but said nothing of it, smiling and appearing to be in high spirits. Over the years, Putin's critics have had a way of winding up dead. Just last August, the head of the mercenary Wagner group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who once marched his forces towards Moscow, was killed when a suspected bomb blew his plane out of the sky. Navalny knew he could face a similar fate and was asked what his message would be if he wound up dead. He said, "You're not allowed to give up. If they decide to kill me, it means that we are incredibly strong. We need to utilize this power to not give up."
An extraordinary 24 hours. Martha Raddatz with us live tonight. And Martha, as you well know, this all comes with the Russian election now just about a month away here.
Exactly, David. And Navalny supporters are calling on Russians to write in Navalny's name. But Putin is expected to get 6 more years, and he has already been in power for essentially 2 decades. David?
Extraordinary. Martha, thank you. And on this news that Alexei Navalny is dead, President Biden before the cameras today blasting House Republicans for taking a 2-week vacation instead of working to help Ukraine fight back against Putin. House Republicans continue to hold up any funding for Ukraine. Rachel Scott again tonight.
Tonight, President Biden says there's no question Vladimir Putin killed Alexei Navalny, and he called out House Republicans for refusing to pass new funding to help Ukraine fight Russia.
But it's about time they step up, don't you think? Instead of going on a 2-week vacation. 2 weeks. They're walking away. 2 weeks. What are they thinking? It's just reinforcing all the concern and almost, I won't say panic, but real concern about the United States being a reliable ally.
The Senate has already passed Ukraine funding with bipartisan support. But in the House, Republicans, spurred on by Donald Trump, have pumped the brakes. Trump instead is encouraging Russia to attack our NATO allies if they don't contribute enough to defense spending.
No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Biden today warning House Republicans history is watching.
We have to realize what we're dealing with Putin. All of us should reject the dangerous statements made by the previous president that invited Russia to invade our NATO allies if they weren't paying up.
All right, Rachel Scott, that's the story on Russia and Ukraine funding for tonight. The other headline, of course, broke last night while we were on the air together. The FBI informant who was cited by so many Republicans has now been charged with lying about his story on President Biden and his son Hunter and Ukraine. The president reacting to that tonight?
Exactly, David. And that former FBI informant is accused of making up a story that President Biden accepted a $5 million bribe as vice president from a Ukrainian company that his son Hunter sat on the board of. Republicans have used that as a justification to try to impeach President Biden. Well, tonight, he is calling on that impeachment inquiry to be dropped, calling it outrageous from the very beginning, David.
Rachel Scott on a Friday night. Rachel, thank you. Now to the fast-moving winter storm heading to the Northeast tonight. 70 million Americans now on alert for snow. New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. among the cities in the path, right across the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic, then up the Northeast. Already a massive pileup in the snow. This is I-70 in Warren County, Missouri, and it's on the way. Senior meteorologist Rob Marciano back with us again tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hey, David, we're ramping up our snow totals here. We've got winter storm warnings now that have been posted for Philadelphia and Columbus, Ohio, where the snow is already falling there, in Indianapolis and Cincinnati, stretching over to Pittsburgh. You mentioned it's fast moving. Look how fast it gets over West Virginia into D.C. by around midnight tonight. Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, 2 a.m. That's when the heaviest snow is going to fall, and then it starts to fall apart 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning with leftover showers. 2 to 4 inches across New York City, back through parts of New Jersey, 2 to 5, maybe 6 around Philadelphia, and the highest total across West Virginia. This would be more disruptive if during the week, but nonetheless, a high-impact storm. David?
All right, Rob Marciano with us. We'll be watching it right through the weekend. Thanks, Rob. Tonight, dramatic new testimony in the high-stakes misconduct hearing involving the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, who brought the Georgia case against Donald Trump and multiple alleged co-conspirators. Tonight here, her father testifying in his daughter's behalf. Steve Osunsami from Georgia again tonight.
The drama in this Georgia courtroom over whether Fulton County prosecutor Fani Willis will continue to lead the election interference case here has come to this.
I have one daughter, Fani Willis.
Her father called to the witness stand, knocking down accusations that she was dating Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade before she hired him to help her prosecute former President Donald Trump and 18 others.
Did you ever meet Mr. Wade in the year 2019?
Absolutely not.
How about in the year 2020?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever see Mr. Wade at Miss Willis's Fulton County house in the year 2021?
Never.
John Clifford Floyd, an experienced lawyer himself, says he was living with his daughter when lawyers from the Trump side of the courtroom say the relationship began.
It is a lie. It is a lie.
Willis lit up the witness stand yesterday. Trump and several of his co-defendants accuse her of profiting from the relationship with money she was paying Wade to work the case. She says she paid him back for their romantic trips with cash. Her father says he taught her to keep cash at home.
But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash.
This hearing isn't over yet. The lawyers are still arguing, and the judge is now saying they might need a day or two
end of next week, and the judge isn't expected to issue an immediate ruling either. David?
Quite the scene this week. Steve Osunsami in Georgia. Thanks, Steve. Now to Prince Harry, one-on-one with our Will Reeve tonight. Harry speaking out for the first time on his visit with his father, King Charles, after the King's cancer diagnosis. Here's Will's interview from Vancouver.
Tonight, Prince Harry speaking for the first time about the moment he learned his father, King Charles, had been diagnosed with cancer.
How did you get the news that the King was ill?
I spoke to him.
And what did you do next?
I jumped on a plane and went to go and see him as soon as I could.
How was that visit for you emotionally?
Look, I love my family. The fact that I was able to get on a plane and go and see him and spend any time with him, I'm grateful for that.
And what do we, without prying, what's sort of your outlook on his health?
That stays between me and him.
Harry didn't meet with his brother, Prince William, but tells me he hopes his father's illness will have a unifying effect on the royal family.
An illness in the family can have a galvanizing or sort of reunifying effect for a family.
Absolutely.
Is that possible in this case?
Yeah, I'm sure. I think any illness, any sickness brings families together.
The Duke and his wife, Duchess Meghan, giving us an all-access tour of the site of Harry's passion project, Invictus Games Vancouver Whistler 2025.
And David, Harry also telling me he enjoys living in California and he's even considered becoming a U.S. citizen. David?
Will Reeve with us tonight. We appreciate it, Will. When we come back, the Super Bowl celebration, of course, the awful mass shooting, and now the major news coming in on it all tonight. And Paul McCartney and the stunning discovery, what's been returned more than 50 years later. Tonight from Kansas City, authorities have now charged 2 juveniles in connection with the deadly shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs celebration. A young mother of 2 was killed. She was a well-known DJ there. 22 others shot, 9 of them children. Police say the juveniles are being held on gun-related charges and resisting arrest. And then the image tonight, Patrick Mahomes and his wife Brittany visiting some of the wounded children in the hospital there. All are expected to recover. When we come back here tonight, what was just returned to Paul McCartney more than 50 years later. To the index of other news, and the FDA approving a new cancer therapy to treat advanced melanoma. The treatment, called Amtagvi, is a cell-based immunotherapy using a person's own white blood cells to fight the cancer. It's the first cellular therapy used to treat solid tumors. Researchers hope it leads to treating other cancers, too. We sure do, too. Tonight, Sir Paul McCartney has his beloved Hofner bass guitar back. Stolen in West London 51 years ago, he played it on several Beatles classics, including Love Me Do and She Loves You. Found by a group called the Lost Bass Project. A family says they discovered it in their attic in its original case, now returned. When we come back, she needed just 8 points. Who is our person of the week? Finally tonight here, it was an easy choice. The star on the court since she was just a little girl, our person of the week. She needed just 8 points to set the record. It only took her 3 minutes to do it.
22 from the outside.
Number 22, Caitlin Clark, the basketball phenom at the University of Iowa, making history.
How will she go for history?
Breaking the NCAA women's all-time scoring record with one of her classic three-pointers.
The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
Iowa coach Lisa Bluter calling for a timeout to celebrate. And look at Caitlin Clark's family cheering in the stands.
Caitlin Clark now has 3,528 points in her career.
Caitlin needed those 8 points, but she scored 49 points last night, a personal best in a single game.
A new career high.
She's been preparing for this moment since she was a young girl. Her family says she actually had to join a boys' team because her dad couldn't find a girls' team at that young age. Just look at her in the second grade.
Honestly, I didn't know if it was going to go in because it was a deep one. Just to do it in this fashion, I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful to be surrounded by so many people that have kind of been my foundation in everything that I've done since I was a young little girl.
Last night, even the legends in awe.
She's phenomenal. I'm going to go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever.
Caitlin Clark tonight making history, and now just 98 points from the men's record, too. And so we choose Caitlin Clark, and we have a feeling she'll break the men's record, too. I'll see you right back here on Monday. Until then, have a good evening. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.